Hey there, it's Professor Gallagher, Skilled Ones, and that glorious time has come. The You Are Awesome app is complete. It has an app icon, and it's ready to install on your phone, so you can show it off and dazzle friends and loved ones with your Swifty genius and the results of your tenacious coding. Let's load up that device with your creation.
If you're new here, welcome. You might want to check out the course playlist to see how we got here.
Swifters, your app looks great. Now it's time to install it on an iOS device. Now, by default, apps are installed on devices using their project names, but you might want to change that. Your project is probably named You Are Awesome, all one word, and that's likely too long a name to fully display under your app's icon. So to change your app's display name, that's the name that shows under the icon, just open the Project Navigator, click on the top icon, the blue project icon, make sure that Targets is clicked and the General tab, and then right here under Display Name, enter the name you'd like to use. I'm just going to enter Awesome, ! And that's it.
And this is how my icon will look when it's installed on my phone. Next, we should make sure that your app is properly signed. Apple requires all app developers to take responsibility for their apps and to have all apps linked to an Apple developer account, even if it's a free one. So everyone in this course should already have their Apple ID set up in Xcode. So let's click on Signing and Capabilities. Then you want to make sure that you've got a selection under Team. It's probably a personal team if you've got a free account. I have a professional Apple developer account as well, so that's the one that doesn't have personal on it. But just make sure you got a team selection and you're good. Then plug your device into your computer. The first time you do this, you might get a message on your iOS device asking if you should trust the computer. Select Trust. Then you'll be asked to get your iOS device in developer mode. So here's a recording I made from my device. So head to the device settings and scroll down to privacy and security. Tap that. And then scroll down to find developer mode. It's in the last grouping. Yours is likely off. If it is, tap it and select on. And after that, you'll be asked to restart your device, which you should do. Now when your device restarts, you'll see a message saying it's ready to enable developer mode. So swipe up to continue. Tap enable to add developer mode to that bad boy. Make sure you unlock your phone, perform any additional approvals or passcode entries if asked, and you should be ready to proceed. Just make sure you keep your phone unlocked for the rest of the app install. Now in order to install your app on your device, keep your device plugged in. Then under the Window menu, select Devices and Simulators.
Now, if your device is connected to your computer and it's been unlocked, you should see the name in the connected list on the left-hand side. Make sure that you click your device's name. And then since this is probably the first time you've installed an app on this device, you're likely to see a message at the top that says, your device is not paired with your computer.
If you get any more messages about pairing with the computer or trusting the computer, select those.
And if you're given any other prompts for installation or approval, definitely go ahead and approve those so you can go through with the installation. So you might see a message like the yellow message that I have up here.
It says development services need to be enabled. You'll see preparing messages, and this could take a few minutes. Mine took about 7 minutes for this to finish up. When it's finally done, this yellow bar up top should go away. Show run destination should be automatic, and I've got a grayed out check here, but it is checked that says connects via network when the wireless connection is not available.
And after that, as long as your device has Wi-Fi turned on and it's on the same Wi-Fi network as your Mac, this should allow you to install updated versions of your app from Xcode to your device using Wi-Fi, so you don't have to plug the device back into your Mac. Now, just one caveat that might still be the case, I'm not sure, but my university, like many universities worldwide, is part of the EduRoam University Network. Some of my students have reported issues getting Xcode on their Mac to wirelessly connect to devices on the EduRoam network. If that's still the case, it's probably an issue with network security at your institution, but you can still use a physical cable to connect your device to your computer each time you want to update your app. Now, if you install a friend or loved one's device on your computer because you want to install your app on their devices, it's totally okay to do that. You'll need to have them password unlock their device and go through all the pre-approvals that you're doing here. Installing an app on other devices is totally fine, but as of this recording, unless you have the $99 paid Apple developer account, your app is going to time out after 7 days and you're going to need to reinstall it. Now, you can reinstall the app as many times as you want, but it's not until you get the paid Apple developer account that apps installed on devices won't expire. Now, one upside is that once you do get the $99 account, you can also submit apps to the App Store, and you can set up special beta test distributions outside of the public App Store release, and your beta testers should be able to download and install your app on their devices without being connected to your Mac or even on the same network.
Now, if you're a university student, check with your professor to see if you have approval from Apple for university-sponsored privileges. My students, for example, get the 7-day fee waived, and they have access to test flight beta installs. You're still going to need the $99 account when it's time to submit your app to the App Store. And another piece of advice, if your school's got a well-funded entrepreneurship center, they might have grants to be able to cover your app developer costs when your app's ready to go.
Now, also really important, if you wrote an app that plays sound like we did here, Make sure your device isn't set to mute. Even if the volume is turned up, if your device is on mute, you're not going to hear sound from this app. But after all this, we're ready to install. Just select your device's name from under the scheme. That's the center pull-down menu in the toolbar where we had selected different devices to either run in the simulator or to run in the Canvas preview. My device is John's iPhone.
Now, another thing that's useful to know, apps won't install on devices that run a version of iOS lower than the minimum deployment target. So I've had students that haven't upgraded their iOS in a while, and they were developing in Xcode in the latest version of iOS in the simulator. So if this happens, my first suggestion is for you to just upgrade the version of iOS on your device. But you can lower the minimum deployment target, and you can do that in the iOS menu in the General tab in your project settings right here. Just be careful when you do this, because if you lower it a whole version lower, and you use some of the latest iOS code that's only available in the latest version, you might find that your app won't run on the older operating system. So now to install the app on our device, we click the same play button we used to launch the simulator, but because you selected a device instead of a simulator from the scheme, it's going to load the app on that device. Now, there's still a chance that you might be prompted for some more approval, or you'll see a message saying that your device is being prepared. No problem. Approve anything you need to. You'll see some progress messages whirl in the upper right, just like they do when you're launching the simulator. If your app has no errors, once again, it's hammer time.
Now, one thing that's also cool is that during runs from Xcode, Xcode is still connected to your device until you quit the app. So if you run an app from Xcode and it's running on your device, and that app prints to the console, you'll actually see that output on your Mac. And if you pause or use any debug features, they work in Xcode on the code running on your device, even though the code is running on a physical device and not in the simulator. Now, this can be especially useful if you're writing code to use features that you want to test on a real device. Things like the accelerometer, shake detection, GPS for local positioning, or the camera. Now, once you quit the app or shut down Xcode, any subsequent run of the app on your device runs without any Xcode connection. And after a short amount of time, an app icon will briefly appear on your device. The app's going to launch on its own.
First time you run and when you're connected to Xcode, you might find the launch screen lingers longer than usual, but in a few moments your app should start to run, and let's give this a try.
Outstanding, mission accomplished. Congratulations, you built your first app, you learned a ton about Swift programming, developing using Swift UI, you can bask in the admiration that your app now bestows on you, and in the adoration of those who will marvel at your mad skills. Now we'll be building many more apps in this series, but take time to celebrate your accomplishments. I'm proud of you.
And remember, if you post to Blue Sky or Mastodon with a screenshot or a video of your app in action,
using the hashtag BuiltWithProfG, you might win one of the weekly My Mac Builds app laptop stickers. If you win, I'll mail it anywhere in the world. I hope you win. It's a nice perk, and your Mac absolutely does build apps.
Feel free to make a post with each new app build. That'll increase your chances of winning. But even if you don't post,
drop a comment. Let me know you finished the build. Let me know if you enjoyed the series. Keep hacking.